Hey guys, this is Sam from God's Words in Heavens, and today we're going to be discussing the eclipse that's happening on December the 4th, the pyramids of Giza, and the ending scene of IPET Go 2, and how this is uh, all related to the eclipse that's happening coming up next week. So, here we have in stellarium, you can see in the sky on December the 4th, all these signs that are happening on the sign of Ophiuchus and Scorpio. So here you see the sign of Ophiuchus stomping on Scorpio, and look at all the activity that's happening here. So not only do we see uh, Mercury here, but we see the sun and the moon. So the moon, the sun, and Mercury are all in this sign right now on December the 4th on this eclipse. So that's really interesting. So that's kind of what we see in the sky during this day. So yeah. So I wanted to go to iPad Go 2 so we can kind of see how this is all related. So let's do it. So here in this ending scene in iPad Go 2, three things really stood out to me. So first is the scorpion symbolism in the clouds. Like if you look to the left of the sun in the clouds, it kind of looks like a scorpion with its sting there. Second is the obviously the gold ring symbolism, which represents the eclipse, and third are these three pyramids that are being destroyed in the scene. And anybody who's familiar with the pyramids of Giza um, knows that these pyramids are tied with the pyramids of Giza. It's tied with the galactic clock or the celestial clock in the skies, showing the end of days. So I'll let this video play out, and you can kind of see what I see here. So sorry about that. So you see the pyramids are being destroyed here, and the meteors and the eclipse symbolism, and then finally you see these closing credits where you see the big gold ring symbolism again, right? And then I guess I don't know a planet on the side of it. It kind of looks like the image that we saw that was going on in Scorpio um, on December the 4th. So that was really interesting to me. So the pyramids of Giza are the oldest lasting structures from ancient times, and they represent a galactic and celestial clock from those times. So if you're not familiar with that, I'm going to show a few clips to give you a little bit of familiar, but please do your own research. But it's really interesting, and there are shafts within these pyramids that are aligned with the stars that are pointing to the stars, more specifically to the belt of Orion. So it's aligned with all the precessions of the equinoxes, and the Sphinx is also aligned on this too. It's really interesting, but it's part of a galactic clock, and that symbolism in iPad Go 2, where these structures are being destroyed, could kind of represent our time being up on this earth.
This is a fact. So, just why were these places built in perfect alignment across the world? Is it all part of a gigantic warning clock? Or is it something far more important than we would ever have attempted to imagine?
Giza Plateau, Egypt. The Great Pyramid is arguably the most enigmatic structure on the face of the earth. It is the only surviving wonder of the ancient world, and has inspired endless speculation as to how it was built and what purpose it served.
Ever since the first studies of the Great Pyramid in Egypt have been made, researchers have been amazed at the mathematical knowledge that is encoded into the Great Pyramid, the measurements that are used in it. Even the placement of the Great Pyramid has aroused great interest among Egyptologists.
The Great Pyramid is aligned to within 3/60th of a degree of north, a more accurate alignment than any other structure on Earth.
When you look at the Great Pyramid's alignment, it's aligned very close to true north. Even more interesting is to think about tracking back in time, because the Earth's axis has been shifting slowly. It's what we call precesses. And so if there's been a shift in that alignment, it could be that it was even more accurately aligned to north in the past when they built it.
The Great Pyramid is not only perfectly aligned to the cardinal points, its placement on the Earth is seemingly intentional as well.
If you pass a great circle from the Great Pyramid through its cardinal and its ordinal directions, what you find is that these circles will pass through more landmass of the Earth than any other location on the Earth. You find that the Great Pyramid is essentially located at the center of the world's landmass.
The Great Pyramid was built at the level of technological sophistication far in excess of anything that we have today. They don't use the inch as we normally have it in the English system, it's the cubit. And what's interesting about this cubit is that it is exactly 1/25 millionth of the polar diameter of the Earth, meaning the distance from the North Pole to the South Pole of the Earth. Chop it up into 25 million pieces, there's your cubit. It's perfect.
So if you actually take the length of the Great Pyramid at its mean socket level, which is the corners of the actual building, it translates into 365.24 pyramid cubits, which just happens to be the earthly right down to a quarter day.
The measurements of the length and width of the perimeter of the Great Pyramid correspond to an exact fraction of both the latitude and longitude measurements at the equator. Scaled up, this means the Great Pyramid directly corresponds to the circumference of the equator, as well as the measurement from the equator to the pole, making it a scale model of the Northern Hemisphere.
If you take the location of the Great Pyramid as a coordinate, this number sequence of this coordinate matches exactly the speed of light traveling through space, measured in meters per second. This is amazing stuff. When you consider the vast amount of information about the Earth that's encoded into the Great Pyramid, you can't just dismiss all of this as pure coincidence.
So those were just a few clips on the clock of Giza, and how it relates to the celestial clock. But I'm gonna leave some links in the description. You can do further research, and I'm gonna leave you guys with the scripture in Joel 2:28, when the Lord will pour out His Spirit on the earth. So, and afterward I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Even all my men servants and maid servants. I will pour out my Spirit in those days. I will show wonders in the heavens and on earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord. And everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. For on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there will be deliverance, as the Lord has promised, among the remnant called by the Lord. So we had that blood moon that happened on the November 18th, and finally the sun will be turned dark, and we will have that eclipse on December the 4th. So that's all I got for right now. Until next time.